Yeah, you're missing the incredible mandate, 1.6%. It's not an incredible mandate.
Well, hang on. They won the White House, the House of Representatives, the Senate.
Okay, but that's not incredible.
They won the Electoral College and won the popular vote.
Piers.
I'm just saying. I mean, Roland, let's be clear. They won absolutely everything there is to win.
Piers, I'm aware of that.
In today's video, Roland Martin absolutely destroys Piers Morgan and his MAGA panel in a heated debate about the US government spending and DOGE. Now, Piers Morgan, being the right-winger that he is, thinks DOGE is a solution to cutting waste and making the government more efficient. But Roland Martin isn't having any of it, and honestly, I don't blame him. Roland calls out the flaws in this whole idea, especially how it sounds great on paper but doesn't really address issues of government spending. And trust me, things get heated real fast. So let's dive in and watch how Roland Martin takes down Piers Morgan in this heated debate.
Let's also be clear. Biden had a larger margin over Trump. Was it called an incredible mandate? No. Here's the fact. It is a fact. It is a fact. Republicans control House, Senate, White House. That's a fact. When you talk about what is the impact on policies, to the point that Jeffrey was laying out, when you talk about spending those things that happen. Right now, you've got folks in these red states who are, oh my God, what's going on? Rural health centers. When you freeze the funds, what has happened with those federal health centers? When you start talking about farmers who are now, wait a minute, what's going on? What about my soybeans? What about the money what about the $1 billion that USAID was actually buying products from American farmers? And so all these things are going to happen. But when we talk about what's also factual, again, I can't necessarily believe Elon Musk when he says things that are blatantly lies. He posts these things on Twitter as well. So this is very simple. If the things that they claim money is being spent on, this is very simple. Put it out there. I don't want to just hear you say it. I want to see the actual evidence. And here's the deal. We'll wait and see. But I also I cannot wait to see if he has the same interest in the massive spending waste that we see in the Pentagon, where the Pentagon budget is approaching $1 trillion. So please, by all means, identify it. But the other thing is, excuse me.
This is important. Roland's mentioned this twice.
Excuse me.
The Defense Department has asked for Elon Musk to come in, and Trump has said that they want to do it. So you mentioned this twice. They are going to look at the defense budget, which has failed to pass basic accounting for the entire Biden administration and the past 7 years.
And here's the deal. Clay, you can finish your point after I make my point. And what I'm saying is this here. When you look at spending, when you look at what Congress has approved, what I also want to know is, when will Republicans also take responsibility for that? When you talk about, you keep mentioning $36 trillion, how much of that, $8 trillion, was added by Trump the last time? So if you want to talk about the debt, you have to say who contributes to that based upon their actions. And that is absolutely bipartisan, Democrat and Republican.
Okay, I mean, look, Clay's made the point, and he's right, that they've all said, Elon, Trump, Pete Hegseth, that they're going to go into the Pentagon spending, and they're going to and they're going to go through that, and I'm sure they will. They're going to go through every department, it seems to me.
You know what else is important? You hitting that subscribe button. So if you're enjoying this video so far, please consider hitting that like button and subscribe. It helps out the channel a lot. Now, Roland Martin makes a solid case against Piers Morgan's oversimplified view of government spending cuts. Slashing funds for rural health centers and farming subsidies might save money on paper, but the real-world impact hits everyday Americans hard. For example, according to USDA, cutting these funds could leave around 630,000 patients in rural areas without essential healthcare services. And farmers? They're already feeling the pressure. With key legislation like the Farm Bill in limbo, farmers in states like Illinois are stuck in financial uncertainty, not knowing if they'll get the support they need to stay afloat. And when Piers and others bring up the Pentagon's budget as if it's untouchable, Roland flips the script. He's like, okay, if you're serious about cutting waste, then why not start with the Pentagon's nearly $1 trillion budget? And he's got a great point. The Department of Defense has failed its financial audit 7 years in a row. We're talking about not being able to fully account for an $824 billion budget. Yet, despite this, Republicans rarely push for significant defense cuts. Why? Because it just doesn't fit their narrative.
Rana, let me ask you this. I mean, I think that Roland made a good point there. It's one thing to say you're being really transparent, and that's certainly what Elon Musk kept saying yesterday. But if the DOGE website doesn't have the specific information which shows that transparency, how does the American public see the transparency? I mean, how are they going to get this? Because I think that's an important part of this. I think if they see it in real time as it's unraveling, great. If they don't see it, why should they believe that it's all being transparent?
Well, part of that starts with a press conference that we had yesterday from the Oval Office with open questions and press being able to ask those questions, things we were not seeing under President Biden. President Biden wouldn't even have a press conference.
Yeah, but Elon Musk kept saying, I'm being completely transparent every step of the way. But as Roland pointed out, if you go to the DOGE website, there's nothing there.
I agree with you, Piers, and I agree with Roland. It's an amazing thing. I do think we have to lay out what the savings are and show what they're finding. I think that is important as they're finding fraud and waste and abuse. It's important that that's brought to the American public. I think that's going to happen. We are 3 weeks in. I know it feels like longer because President Trump's getting so much done. But I do think that's important as they go forward, that they tick-tock. Here are the things that are happening. Here are the things that we found. We saw day one, DOGE came in and said, we're going to make people come back to work. The waste of people just staying at home, the amount of the workforce that was not going to work 7 days a week. That's good for our country. We're going to see more and more of that as this goes forward.
Okay, Jeffrey, JD
I'm sorry, wait a minute. DOGE told people don't come in. DOGE said don't come in. Then they offered these fake buyouts that Congress has not appropriated any money for. What are you talking about? DOGE already said don't come in.
The government workers that are necessary, they are saying you're going to have to show up to work 7 days a week like everybody else in real America is doing. I mean, why do you have an entire federal workforce working remote? It's just not feasible.
Hold on. And I understand that, but DOGE said don't come to work. DOGE said don't come to work. Then they offered buyouts that Congress has not authorized. You have there's nowhere. No. You didn't hear what I just said. That Congress has not authorized buyouts. How can DOGE offer buyouts to federal workers that has not been appropriated by Congress? How?
Just like businesses do it. They go to their employees and they say, you know what, we're going to buy you out because we're going to have layoffs. And here's a buyout option. And they're giving them that option because they're trying to help those people have a severance of 8 months, which is very generous. And it's going to be seen in the courts. We're going to see this in the courts.
Rona, you're wrong. When there were buyouts under President Bill Clinton, Congress passed a law authorizing the $25,000 buyout. You cannot just make, I'm Elon Musk, the co-president.
In the private sector, companies go to employees all the time and offer buyouts and then say, if you don't take this buyout, you have a potential of being laid off. That's how the private sector works.
Rona,
and people are saying the government should work like the private sector.
Rona, the United States Constitution explicitly states that anything as relates to money starts in the House of Representatives. It does not state that the executive branch can actually spend money. That's not the executive branch can't do that.
That brings me. Hang on.
Okay, this debate got spicy really quick. She's all in on DOGE, thinking it's the ultimate fix for government waste. But Roland Martin isn't buying it. And honestly, he's got a point. First off, Roland calls out the fact that DOGE's website doesn't show any actual savings or evidence of fraud. Like, if this department is supposed to be saving taxpayer money, shouldn't they be showing receipts? Then there's the whole remote work argument. She acts like federal employees working from home is some massive problem. But Roland shuts that down, reminding him that DOGE actually told people not to come into work, and then started offering buyouts that Congress never approved. And here's where Roland really lands a knockout punch. The US Constitution is crystal clear. Any spending, including buyouts, must be approved by Congress. It's not like the private sector where companies can offer severance packages whenever they want. Even when Bill Clinton's admission did buyouts, they followed the law and got approval from Congress. So DOGE trying to hand out severance packages without congressional approval? Yeah, that's a big no-go. Piers and his panel keep pushing the idea that DOGE will magically fix government waste. But Roland brings the receipts. Government spending isn't as simple as cutting numbers. It's about funding essential services that people rely on. Plus, DOGE just can't skip Congress and hand out buyouts like a private company. And until they show actual proof of savings, it's all just talk. But this is it for today's video. I hope you have enjoyed. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comment section down below.